What's happening, guys? Today's another day on the channel, and today we're at Harbor Freight again, and we're getting some more stuff because we got another engine. Not another, it's the one coming out of the 180, but we're here because we need another engine stand because we're finally gonna do the build-ish on the 180. We're really just gonna reseal some stuff and put some new parts on it, but we're gonna do that, and that's gonna happen this weekend, so stay tuned. Okay, so this time around, we got some new stuff. We got another engine stand because, like I just said, we needed to pull the SR out. And we got some pry bars, and we got the right metric set this time. The only one that's not in here, which is really weird to me, is it doesn't have an 18. So that's okay. We'll just use an adjustable or something like that if we need to use an 18. But it's got 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, 21, 22, and a 25, which I haven't really ever had a 25 wrench. So I think that might be pretty good to have. So we got this. Finally got the last part yesterday. So this is a P2M oil pump. I asked around, got a couple questions, and seems to be a pretty good oil pump. I got this from Injuku, so I mean, Injuku's not going to sell junky parts, so we're going to go ahead and run this thing. We're going to put this on tomorrow. Maybe not tomorrow, but at least on Sunday we're going to put this on, and we're going to see how well the car runs and everything like that. We're definitely going to dump a bunch of oil into this thing because this thing is very dry in there right now because there's no oil in it. But yeah, we're gonna put some assembly lube in there, and let's go ahead, get back home today, and then we're gonna head out over there tomorrow. So shop now. Okay, so we are at the shop today. We had a really late start. I just posted that on Instagram. We got a light here, using this from somebody left this thing here, so we got that. I put the motor stand together, so this is all back together. In here, what did we get? So I got my pry bars right here, and then inside here, we got the new wrenches right there. So those things are really gonna come in handy there. I feel like duty today, guys, so just bear with me with that. So we got some wrenches here. These are the old ones that I had in there. So let's go ahead, start tearing into this thing. What we're gonna do first is we're going to take the hood off so that it's a lot easier to do this because I'm pulling it out the top this time instead of dropping the front subframe. And we're going to start by taking off the intercooler piping. We're going to take off the strut tower brace. We're going to disconnect some of the wiring and all that kind of stuff up here. And then we're going to slowly start taking off some of the other stuff so that we can get it out. When we go to put this thing back together, I'm realizing that I'm going to need zip ties, I'm going to need coolant, some oil, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to have to do all that. Hopefully what I can do is I can actually just take this whole thing out without having to spill that much stuff on the floor here, because I do not want to do that, and that's just going to make a big mess. So we're going to try not to spill. We're going to use a lot of cardboard underneath this thing right here. We're going to put this underneath the drivetrain and see what we can do there. I got to jack it up and put two jack stands underneath the front there, and we should be able to do that. So let's go ahead. We're gonna take the hood off and the strut tower brace off, and then we'll come right back to you guys in a second. Okay, so we jumped the gun a little bit, and I took off more than I said I was going to. We got the hood off, we got the strut bar off, we got the intercooler piping out, we got the radiator off, we got the catch can breather lines off of the engine. We're gonna start disconnecting the wiring harness now, and we're gonna take off the throttle cable, plop all that stuff off to the side. We're going to take off the injector rail, not the whole rail, but we're just going to pop off our AN fittings on either end there. We're going to go through and we're going to take out our power steering. That thing's got a leak everywhere, so I'm going to try to figure out a way to get it to like leak into a bucket. Obviously, we're not going to have any power steering, so we're going to keep the power steering, but we're not going to have it right now, so we got to keep it off to the side. And we're going to have to get new fluid for that. We had to disconnect our oil filter relocation along with some other wiring down there. I made this car very easy to take apart because if you're on the track and you're trying to work on it, you don't want to have to be fighting this, fighting that. You just want to be able to just take it apart, work on it, and then put it back together and get right back out on the track. So that's kind of what I tried to do. So let's go ahead and continue to take some of this stuff apart. Okay, so since the last time we got the harness off, we got some of the harness that goes to the transmission off to the side now. I'm currently working on the alternator, getting the alternator unbolted there. We got the throttle cable off. We took the fuel lines off. We got the coil packs disconnected. And on this side, we still got to do a lot. We got to take the power steering off. We got to go underneath. We got to take the exhaust manifold, not the manifold, but the downpipe off. and pull that all the way out. And then we should be starting to get to a point where we could try to figure out how we can jack this thing up. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a strap around the alternator bracket down here and then bring it all the way over and then put it onto the exhaust side over there and then pull it out like that. I think that'll be the best bet for this thing. Getting the transmission off is probably gonna be a little difficult because I don't want to really like take the, I don't want to keep the transmission at too much of an angle because it's going to dump fluid all over the floor. So I might honestly try to disconnect the transmission underneath and then just pull it off underneath the car and then just kind of leave it under there and then pull the transmission out separately and then bolt it back up and then drop it in all at once. But we'll figure that out later. I got to try to figure out where my stub shaft is that I can put in the transmission to hold on so that it won't dump the fluid all over the ground. So if we figure that out, then we're golden there. But we're still working on this thing. We got to get it out. It's starting to rain, so I don't want to really film and talk while it's raining. So I'm going to try to do a little time lapse of a little getting something out right now. So I'll try to figure out what side I can do it on, and then we'll do it there. We're getting to the point where we need to go under the car, and sadly, I don't have a floor jack here. So I need to go get one, and I need one anyways because, you know, I've never had a floor jack since I lived in Connecticut. So we're just gonna go get one. We'll probably be back super late. So like I said, this video is going up really late. Like I said, it might not even go up today. So let's go get a floor jack and then we'll come back and we'll jack it up. We'll go underneath and we'll get some stuff off underneath and then we'll pull the motor out. And it should be out within a couple hours now. So let's go get a floor jack now from Harbor Freight. Okay, so we're back from Harbor Freight. We got a jack. And we got a jack with jack stands too. So we got a 2-for-1 here. Wasn't that much more expensive than just a low profile jack. So we got jack stands now. So we're not going to die underneath this thing. So we're going to put this, we're going to unbox this. We're going to get this thing up in the air a little bit. And then we're going to start taking off the exhaust and see what else we need to take off underneath so we can start pulling her out the top. Okay, so I thought this jack came with jack stands, but it just says, be safe, always use jack stands. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this jack for today to get this job done, but we're bringing this thing back and we're getting a cheaper one because I don't need a 3-ton. And, you know, I just don't want this one. I want the cheaper one. So we're going to go ahead and bring this thing back tomorrow, but we're going to use this so that we can get this job done here today and pull this motor out. Okay, guys, so underneath the car here, we have the motor mounts debolted. We have the drive shaft unbolted. The transmission is still being held up by the transmission brace right now, but we will be taking that out when it gets closer to the time. The other thing that we have to take off is going to be the shifter up top. And then we should be able to kind of maneuver around and start taking off some of the stuff in the front that's going to start leaking places like the power steering. That I've been waiting for the very end to take that off because I don't want that to leak all over the floor. Because then our cardboard will get all dirty. Because I know it's going to leak. I just want to catch as much of it as I can. And yeah, so let's go inside. We're going to disconnect the shifter and stuff like that. And then we're going to come out here and we're going to try to disconnect the power steering, hang it up places, and then go underneath and pull the transmission mount off. And then we should be able to start pulling this thing out the top now. Oh yeah, and we got the downpipe off right there. So we're ready to be pulling this thing out now. Okay, so shifter stuff inside is detached. I pulled the harness that I had for my wideband gauge and for my oil pressure gauge back up through the center console there. We're gonna try to leave the shifter on before we take this out. When I lower it a little bit, I'm gonna try to snake my hand in there and take out the front 4 bolts and then just leave the back 2 in there in case we do need to take that off. I can just come in here and pop those last 2 off and then we should be good to go and we can pull the shifter out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to take off the power steering side first. And then we're going to try to take off the oil cooler side. Both sides are probably going to leak a little bit, but we do have the cardboard underneath the car here, so it's going to catch some of it. I just hope it doesn't just dump everywhere because that's going to really suck. So let's go ahead and try to take off this power steering wheel quick, and hopefully it doesn't leak. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take off the 2 bolts right there. And then we're going to lower the transmission a little bit, and we're going to take off the 2 top ones up all the way in the front. And we're going to leave these 2 in the back here for last in case we need to take those off. But I don't really want to take the shifter all the way off. I just want to kind of snake it out, and hopefully we can do that. So guys, this is here when it should be in there, but that happened. So I need transmission fluid. That kind of sucks. Now it looks like there's actually like a leak or something down there, which sucks too. Unless it was the oil filter housing. Oh yeah, it is. It's the oil filter housing is leaking. So we're gonna get it on a stand tonight, and that's probably about it for tonight. But yeah, let's get this thing on a stand. I gotta get some fluid for it now. I didn't really want to change the fluid, but I guess it's about time to change the fluid in it. So we're going to get it on a stand so that tomorrow we can come in and we can just pop the head off, do everything we need to do, and then hopefully we can get it back into here like next weekend. So let's go ahead and get at that, guys. Okay, so as I took my clutch off, I got a bunch of clutch disc powder there. So I inspected it, and this side is pretty heavily worn there. So we're gonna need a new clutch. This side's still not super bad, but it's down. So we're gonna need a new clutch. I want to run the stock flywheel still, so we're going to end up cleaning this up and getting it polished up. And then we're just going to put that one back on with a new pressure plate and a new disc. And we should be good to go there again for a while. This car really doesn't push a whole lot of power, so I think we're pretty good with it. So let's go ahead and, oh man, I scratched up my valve cover when I was pulling the motor out. That's okay. It's on the back anyways, so we're not really going to see it. Bummer. But yeah, guys, so we're going to need a clutch. I want to get spark plugs for this thing too while we're in here. We're going to replace this coolant line because this thing's getting all soft and squishy, so I want to replace that now before we put it back in. But let's go ahead, finish up getting this off of this, getting the clutch off so we can put it on the actual motor stand. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, so that's about it for this video, guys. I believe we're at about 10 minutes here. We got the motor out. We got a big mess to clean up tomorrow. I gotta find one of my shifter springs. I lost it, kind of upset about it. Gotta really find that thing. Also, I need to buy a new shifter as well. Clutch we need, possible shifter, transmission fluid, engine oil, power steering fluid. Not really. We got that all situated over there in a corner. We're going to bring this jack back. We're going to get the cheaper one tomorrow because we don't need a 3-ton. This car definitely doesn't weigh 3 tons. And if we do need to do anything with the truck, 2-ton is good enough. My truck is a 2500, so it's good. We got the motor right here on the stand. We moved the LS over to this corner. I did kind of plop the stuff back onto the LS so that it's a little bit easier to move around, and it's got some stuff on it there. Once again, trying to keep in the space that I have and just minimize the stuff that I need. So this stuff here we could throw away. We don't need that old water pump. We don't need this these headers because we're gonna get long tube headers. That's an engine mount. We don't need that. So that stuff right there is going to get thrown away. A couple of the stuff in the box for the LS stuff is going to get thrown away. Like we don't need the headers for the 6.0 because they're just stock shorty headers. We're going to keep some of the stuff over there for the LS. We're going to try to figure out what we do and we don't need there. The tractor has some stuff coming for it next week as well. I'm going to hit up my friend and we're going to do something with him to try to get that rear axle in there the proper way that I want it to go in. And yeah, tomorrow we're going to start tearing this thing down. I got the crank pulley bolt loose right here. So that's loose. We're going to take off the belts. We're going to change out the stuff that we need to change out. We're going to pull the head off it. We're going to take the exhaust manifold off. We're going to do all that kind of stuff, guys. And we're going to just try to get this thing back together and running pretty soon. So that's about it though, guys. If you guys liked the video, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, comment, share, do all the good stuff. And I hope to see you guys in the next one with more 180 stuff and more. Just trying to get this shop space channel keep going, man. 100K, that's 50K, honestly. 50K is the next goal. Then it's going to be 100K. So let's keep going, guys.